a year in the making. Apart from that, a lot of movers which we are seeing individually as well as Alex. But let's go across to our guest first, Mr. Brijesh Shale, who's the technical expert for today, joining from IDBI Cap, as well as Mr. Saurabh Jain from SMC Global Securities. Gentlemen, to both of you, thanks so much for joining in as well. Let me just get Brijesh, your quick view on the markets, because we've seen firstly the benchmarks underperform the broader markets today. Do you expect this to sustain for the Nifty today? Because we've mentioned 25,600 and 25,500 as key support levels. Do you expect any kind of positive momentum for the last 4 hours of trading session today?
Basically, see what, as you said, the last week it was something the market gave a very strong breakout, and today what we are seeing is just a small minor profit booking of that. So I believe this 25,500 in the cash is likely to be tested. So on the downside, so that is the immediate support which we are looking at. So maybe from the current level of 77 points, we can see another 50 points more corrections. So that should be the support level from where the market should see some bottom, or maybe some individual stocks should start picking up. So not too much of negative, this is just a breather. So slight corrections can be there. We are looking for 25,500, and whenever it comes close to those levels, we will start picking these stock specific trades.
All right, point well noted. And gentlemen, good morning from my end as well. I will come back to you in just a bit. And viewers, just by the way, in case you're just tuning in and you haven't watched this show in the past, a quick update for you. The way that you can get in touch with us, you can either call us on the number at the bottom of your screen, or you can message us on the WhatsApp number that is on top of the screen, and we'll take your questions. If you are writing in for the first time, tell us your name, tell us your location, and also the duration that you'd like to hold for if you are deciding to make a new entry of your holding at this juncture. But an interesting story, an important story coming in from the regulator. Market regulator SEBI has uncovered major pump and dump incidents being conducted through several shell companies. A pump and dump scheme, remember, is when a particular stock is made more attractive. Retail investors get pulled in, they put money in the stock, and suddenly there is a crash in the stock and they lose out. Charu is joining in to give you all of the details there. Charu, what are the key details? What are the numbers here?
Hi, so the Market Regulator Securities and Exchange Board of India is currently investigating several pump and dump schemes using a lot of shell companies. Now, we must understand that these were being operated from one single place, that is from Ahmedabad, and it has also been seen that about 3,000 to 4,000 investors are likely to have been affected by this. Now, the sources have also told NDTV Profit that the regulator is very keen on coming out with an interim order, at least in this case, in an expedited manner, and something is likely to come up in the next 3 to 6 months. Otherwise, these cases usually take about a year and a half to see the light of the day in terms of the order. Now, other information that is also available with us is that currently most of these companies are not something that they were in very active stage. So these were defunct BSE listed old companies which were being revived just to orchestrate pump and dump schemes. Now we'll have to see what are the developments follow in terms of regulatory action, but looking at the number of investors duped and the number of shell companies involved, it seems to be one of the most well planned market manipulation cases, at least for the year.
Absolutely, and more details will emerge, as you said. Charu, thanks so much for joining in. Be very, very careful when you're trading in the stock market, and don't run after things that appear incredible. Look at the details, look at the fundamentals before you trade as well, even if your time frame is short. Simple advice to follow. All right, let's take the first talk today, and we've got Suresh Nair, who's writing in from Cochin in Kerala, and he's asking about Bajaj Housing Finance. He hasn't told us what level he's acquired at, but he's asking whether to hold or sell at this point. And since I don't have a buy price or a duration, I'm going to go across to you, Saurabh. We're going to see the next quarter results, or rather the current quarter results, the last day of June. At this point, so the earnings season will come soon enough. What is your anticipation of Bajaj Housing earnings? How do you expect it to pan out in FY26?
Hi, good morning, Index. I think, in my opinion, I think the Bajaj Housing Finance has always grown above the industry average. The last quarter numbers were good, and in fact, it is going to grow going to see good double-digit growth in FY26. The point was the higher valuation. It came in a bull market, and there was a lot of exuberance The valuations have corrected. Now it is trading at around 5 times to book value. But I think it will take a while before the stock, stabilizes. On the earnings side, because of the earnings growth, I think the bottom will be placed. I think quite early. In my opinion, I think it will take some time for the stock to once again marching up.
All right. So patience is. So would you say it's a hold or would you say it's an exit?
In my opinion, I think it is a hold.
It's a hold. Okay. On the fundamentals, it's a hold, but it could take time for you to generate capital gains on this one. Geeta is calling us from Bengaluru, the first caller of the day. Geeta, very good morning to you. How can we help you today?
Very good morning, Alex. I bought a Indus Tower share at the level of 362.
Okay.
Now it is a 415. Shall I?
Yeah.
Can I? How much time we can put on the profit?
Okay. So that is something that you have to determine, Geeta. When you bought it, did you buy it for a short-term trade or did you buy it because of the fundamentals and because it's a long-term story? Geeta, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, tell me.
So when you bought it, did you buy it for more than a year or less than a year?
Less than a year.
Less than a year. Okay. So Brijesh, I'm going to come to you on the chart. She's making some gains here. The question is, should she wait for further upside?
I believe the undertone is bullish, and recently with the overall market, this has also gone up. So I believe this can easily go back to 440, 450 levels, and the recent high was 460. So it will make an attempt. So if she is willing to hold for this entire month, so there's a probability that she will see 440, 445. So that opportunity is there.
Got that, Brajesh. The next is a query on WhatsApp coming from Bengaluru. Bala Subramaniam is writing with a query on LTI Mindtree. Now, it's very interesting that he's holding 800 shares of the company, but he bought it actually before the merger of both LTI as well as Mindtree together. So he's sitting at a very handsome gain of 33 lakh rupees. So kudos to him. He's asking what will be the market value regarding the stock, both on fundamental and technicals, and it looks like he wants to sell a little bit over the next 3 months and book just some partial profits. So Brijesh, let me come to you first. Then I'll also come to you on a fundamental view, Saurabh. But Brijesh, on the stock, do you expect it to sustain at these levels or could see some pressure going forward? So it could be a good time to sell right now.
Yes, I think there can be some pressure because the stock has met with resistance at the 200-day moving average, and for the last two occasions, it is like 5400 is a level where it is finding resistance. Now, if I look from the charts perspective, today it's already down by 0.8%, and the lower level 4900, 4800 is what I expect on an immediate basis. So definitely there is some pressure. If it is going to take some profits, that is a wise decision.
And Saurabh, the IT space actually has seen a downturn in growth essentially. Do you expect that it'll be a long wait before growth comes back?
I think it will take a while because what is happening in the US, I think discretionary spending is not happening. There has been some kind of a delays from the client side also. The commentary were not that great even for the bigger companies. So I expect, I think, in my opinion, the earnings will be, subdued this time around for the foreseeable future. In my opinion, if he wants to get out, I think he should book some profits out of the deal.
So book some profits is the view of Saurabh as well. But let's go across to our next caller. We're getting it from Hyderabad. Kiran is dialing in. Kiran, a very good morning to you and welcome to Ask Profit. What's your query?
Good morning, sir. My query is regarding Dixon Tech. I purchased 35 shares of Dixon Tech today at a price of 14,535. So for a short-term thing for the next 1 week, can I hold this stock? And last week it formed a higher top at around 14,900 levels on Friday regarding the Nomura upside. But the stock is struggling since so long.
Yep.
Should I go on and hold this, or should I shift for some other counters? Can I get some short-term trading ideas too from both the experts? Is my query, sir.
Got that, Kiran. Got that. So, Brijesh, on the fundamental side, of course, we've seen some pressure on the stock, but how does the chart look like? Because the stock actually made a high of about 17 to 18,000, then has corrected to a low of about 13,000. Do you expect some positive momentum on the charts for Dixon Tech?
See, it's a very specific trading kind of opportunity. His cost is somewhere close to 14,500 close. So there is a small probability that this will go back to 15,000, 15,800. Small buying is happening. So with a very strict stop loss, I would likely to say that 14,033, which was the 26th June low. With that stop loss, I think he should hold a position. He will get one exit opportunity in this, most probably 15,000, 15,100. He should be taking that, exiting the trade.
Okay. All right. So that's a view on Dixon Tech in focus and has moved quite dramatically off the high point, as Puneet pointed out. Let's talk about IFCI Limited. This was previously known as Industrial Finance Corporation of India. And it is currently trading at about 66 or thereabouts, 65 or thereabouts. And we've got Ajesh, who's writing in from Bengaluru. He's got the shares at a price of 67.74, not too far away from the current market price. And he's looking to hold for only a period of 3 to 6 months. And he's wondering whether to sell, hold, or buy more at this point. Brajesh, on the charts, what's the view?
I will only talk of the levels. 55 is a trigger, 55, 56 is a trigger. So as long as it is holding above 55, 56 level, there is a strength. Because the last month the stock was almost up by 59%. And so there is a probability that this 59% what we saw in the month of May can be replicable on the in the coming months. So there is an opportunity. Just hold the position. 56 should be the stop loss.
56 is the stop loss for IFCI. Hold is the view on the counter. We've got our next caller. Govind is calling us from Hyderabad. Govind, very good morning to you. How can we help you today?
Yeah, good morning, Alex, sir. Good morning to all of you, sir.
Very
sir,
good morning.
Actually, I have got 2,000 shares Karur Vysya Bank at the rate of 216, sir.
Okay.
Can I book profit or add some more, sir? Actually, I am a long-term investor, sir.
When did you buy? When did you buy, Govind?
I think maybe 8 months is over, sir.
Okay. So is there a reason why you are thinking of booking profit? Is there a need for the funds right now?
No, sir. No.
No, you're just...
Not necessary, sir.
Okay. And you've seen a pretty strong up move and you're wondering whether there could be some profit taking, which is why you want to preempt that. Is that the correct understanding?
Yes, sir. Correct,
Okay.
sir. Correct, sir.
Okay.
What you are telling exactly correct.
So would you like a fundamental view or should I get you a technical view?
Actually, fundamental view, sir.
Okay.
I want the fundamental view.
Got it. Saurabh, so he's bought at attractive levels, 216. He's seen pretty good upside. And a lot of people are talking about the banking and financial services space, even though at the index level, you have the benchmark or the bank nifty at record highs. You have a few private sector banks that are also trading at record highs or at least 52-week highs. What is the specific view on Karur Vysya? Would you book profits or would you wait for further upside?
I think he has already said that he is an investor in the market. We are quite bullish on the banking sector, and in the banking sector, Karur Vysya is one of the good pick. If you look at the balance sheet, they have very clean balance sheet. The NPAs, net NPA and gross NPAs are coming down. Capital adequacy ratio is good. Provision coverage ratio is good. The bank is growing at a rate of 20% in profitability. I think the balance sheet is going at above industry size, above industry average. So in my opinion, if he wants to be for the long term, I think he can stay put. Otherwise, he can lock some profits.
Got that, Saurabh. The next question is actually coming in from WhatsApp. Lalita from Kerala is writing to us, and she's a frequent person who sends us a query. So thanks so much for joining us, Lalita, every day. Her query is actually on Forging Limited. She's bought it at 678. I'm just going to come back to you, Saurabh, because we've seen the forging space being impacted because of demand concerns in the international market. Similar concerns for Bharat Forge as well. Would you suggest our viewer to hold for some time and see a recovery, or do you expect to sell out because she bought it at 678? It's away from the current market price. What do you suggest?
See, in my opinion, I think the last quarterly earnings reflect the same, what you just said. I think since the June quarter is about to end, I think she should wait for at least this June quarter earning numbers in the management guidance. This is quite an old company and has proven its mettle. I think in the past, they have grown at a good pace. So in my sense, I think she should hold for a while.
Our next caller coming in from Hyderabad. Raman is dialing in for a stock query. Raman, a very good morning to you. What's your query?
So good morning, sir.
Go ahead, Raman. What's your query?
I bought Gravita at the rate of 1775, 1,250 shares. I
And-
need to know what is the short-term trend and till how long we can expect in future, sir.
And do you expect to have a long-term view for this? Are you able to hold the stock for more than a year, Raman?
No, sir. Short-term is
Short-term
minimum
view.
period 3 months, sir.
3 months, okay. Let me go to Brijesh. Brijesh, on Gravita, we've seen a very strong move on stocks on the recycling space. Any view specifically on the charts for the next 3 months?
Yeah, I think the structure is positive from the 3 months perspective. I think he can see 2000, 2050 level. So that should be the next upside zone. So whenever it crosses 2000, he should review it, or if he's willing to take some profit, he should do that.
Got it. Okay, so that's a view on Gravita. And kudos for that acquisition. It's been quite the acquisition, Raman, and making quite a bit of gains on that. I want to club a couple of questions, and this is on TCS. Srinivas from Vijayawada is asking about the long-term prospects for TCS. He's bought at price of 4,249 rupees, and he's wondering whether to hold or sell. And Prashobh is writing in asking about the shorter-term time frame. He's bought at price of 3,650 in the month of March, and he's looking at a 3-month time frame. We will get both, but of course, before we do, I have the guy who tracks IT from our research team right next to me. So earnings-wise, a lot of people asking whether the worst is over for IT companies, and I think a lot of people have been unable or unwilling to say.
Yeah.
There have been a few analysts that have said that it can't get worse than this.
Yeah.
That a lot of these companies tend to under-promise and over-deliver, and they've actually under-promised
yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
So what's the setup ahead of the earnings season,
Yeah,
Puneet?
and it's going to be interesting because the results are expected on 10th of July, so it's
Yes.
not too far away.
Yeah, exactly.
But there will be either a flattish to a negative bias. So essentially, there won't be any growth expectations from this quarter, Alex. So it's going to be a tough quarter, and I think commentary will drive most of the views, at least for TCS in this particular quarter.
And it could move as well, basis that commentary. So
Commentary.
important point to make. Just another 10 days or so for those earnings. So with that context, gentlemen, I'm going to come to both of you. First on the charts, Tata Consultancy Services for the next 3 months, 3, 4, 5 or thereabouts is where the ticker is right now. What would you do? Would you hold if you bought, Brijesh?
Yeah, maybe 3 months is quite very far difficult, because right now at this point 3600 is the level where the extremely small writers are active. So I think if there is any kind of momentum, this 3600 will act as a stiff resistance. So one has to understand whether this 3600 will be taken out or will it face resistance. So on immediate basis, we'll bet for 3600, somewhere to 36 or maybe 3650. That is the extreme scenario, and we need to take a call when it comes to those levels. So immediate basis, 36, 3650, that will be my view.
Okay, and where would you put the stop loss?
Stop loss will be somewhere below 3350 levels, 335.
3350, okay. And on the fundamentals, so Saurabh, on the basis of what we've spoken about right now, would you hold, especially, and this is a specific question from Srinivas, 4249 is his acquisition price, which is elevated. Would you hold on for the long term?
Alex, I don't find any merit of holding the IT stocks because there has been no clue that these companies would see growth. At best, they would be seeing maybe middle single digit growth or something like that. There will be even maybe pressure on the margins also. The margins, while expanded in the last quarter, I am feeling in the last 2 quarters, but I think overall, I think because of the lower discretionary spends, clients delaying their projects execution, overall the environment in the US, I don't find any merit in holding IT stocks for the next 3-4 quarters.
Okay, for the next 3-4 quarters, so practically a year. It's not the best visibility. But Priyanka is calling us from Bengaluru. She's got the next question. Hi Priyanka, very good morning. How can we help you today?
Yeah, good morning everyone. I have purchased Oracle Sim Service 100 shares for 9,100 based on the fundamentals of the company. I just wanted to know the technical view of the company for next 1 month as I'm a short-term investor.
Okay. And when did you buy this 9,100 level?
Few days ago, around 10 days ago.
Okay. Brijesh, on the charts then, currently trading below the buy price, 8,972 is where it is right now on the ticker. What is the potential upside?
Alex, currently the stock is witnessing distribution. So this means that this can come back to the support level. Previously, the buying came from the level of 8,300. So there is a high probability that this may come close to those levels, and then it might see some support. So on an immediate basis, I think there is a more damage is going to see in this stock. 83.50 can be the level. I would say that one should look for those levels, and if possible, maybe averaging can be done.
Got that, Brijesh, and a few IT queries in the first 25 minutes of the show. So definitely a sector in focus. But we're also getting a next call from Kolkata. Sayan is dialing in for a query. Sayan, a very good morning to you. What's your query?
Actually, I want to enter into the stock Genas Power Infrastructure for a long-term perspective.
Okay.
Because the power sector is a big bet for the future. I have already invested in Tata Power, but I want to invest in the capital goods segment of the power sector. So I want to invest in this counter.
Yeah.
What will be the long-term outlook for at least 2 years?
Got that. So a long-term outlook on Genas Power, and you already hold Tata Power as well. Got that. So Saurabh, let me come to you on this, because the power space actually has done very well for its investors. Any specific view that you have on Genas Power?
It's a small cap company. After a run up, it is now around 11,000 odd crore company. The company is posting good set of numbers and good set of growth, and that is why the stock got re-rated. For the next 2 years, I think it makes sense to hold this company. My take is a hold.
Okay, let's look at IOC. Hold is the call on Genas Power. But let's talk about IOC. It's a counter that was in focus along with the entire downstream oil marketing pack, and it's gained. Let's pull up the last week. Let's pull up the last 1 month chart just to see what it. So there you go, nearly 8% on the chart for the last week. But let's pull up the 1 month as well. But what the context is important for you to understand. Last week you saw the dissipation, if you can call it that, of geopolitical tension in that West Asia region, as a result of which crude oil prices dropped very dramatically from 77, 78 levels all the way up to about 65 or 66 or thereabouts, which is where Brent crude currently is. It was a significant positive for these companies. But we've got a question from Nikat, who's writing and asking about the short-term or long-term prospects, and he's looking at whether to hold on or to buy right now for the current at the current market price for a period of 6 months. What is the target? So let's go with the charts. Brijesh, on the charts, would you buy right now?
Yeah, definitely, Alex. The structure is extremely positive. The weekly setup suggests inverse HHS pattern, which is quite a strong bullish pattern. And the target for the side pattern is somewhere 165, 168. So somehow I'm looking for another 20 points more in this counter. So if he's willing to take that call, there's an opportunity.
Okay, you can buy right now is a view from Brijesh. Kiran Ram is calling us from Hyderabad. Kiran, very good morning to you. How can we help you today?
Hi, Alex. Good morning, and
good morning.
Good morning to everyone.
Please go ahead.
I have a question on Mobicwick Systems.
Right.
I purchased a price of 489 for 200 shares, but seems like currently I'm loss of around 48k. So whether I need to go for a long term, or I need to buy. I mean, I need to buy more shares for the future perspective, or I need to sell.
Okay, Kiran, did you buy it post the IPO?
Yes.
You bought it from the secondary market, right?
Yes,
because
exactly.
I can't remember the issue price. But basically you bought more quantity over the course of a period of time, right? After the IPO?
Yes.
Okay, so the issue price was at, okay, so he's bought it significantly higher than that. Okay, so help me understand why you bought this, Kiran. What was the thinking? Or what was the thesis on this?
No, actually, this is currently on the POS, the kind of the fintech market is growing rapidly in India, like the digital payments are everywhere we have seen in India. So Mobicwick is also one of the major business players. So that's the reason I thought of Mobicwick will be a good choice. But I don't see, I did not find any the drawbacks at that moment, because I'm just a new investor that time, a couple of months back.
Yeah. So is this one of the only stocks that you own, or is this one of, say, 10, 15, 20 stocks that you own?
No, I hold around some around 20 stocks, 15 lakhs around, but I'm currently getting a profit of 2 lakhs.
Understood. So this is one entity that you need to determine whether to hold or exit from.
Yes.
Saurabh, on the fundamentals, I can't obviously go to Brijesh, Kiran, because you don't have enough data, but on the fundamentals on MobiKwik, if you bought at very elevated levels, 489, what would you do? Would you call this a loss? Because on a portfolio basis, as he's pointed out, he's in the green. Should he just take this off?
In my opinion, Alex, this company is losing money. Investors have lost faith in the December quarter, in the March quarter. The losses were higher to the tune of 55 crore. And in the payment business, I think there is no money-making process. Earlier, there was a expectation that maybe some kind of a levy would be there for UPI payments and all, and these companies will start making money. But that doesn't happen to be the case. In my opinion, I think there is no merit in holding this one stock out of the 15 stocks that he is holding. In my opinion, if he wishes to switch to some other company in the capital goods space, in the transmission space, I like companies like maybe KEC International or Kalpatru. I think investing in these companies for the next 1-2 years may make his losses good.
You can, by the way, it's better sometimes to book out those losses and set them off against future gains from a tax perspective as well. You can't always have winning investments, and sometimes you have to prune your portfolio. Kiran, hopefully that answers your question. I understand, Brijesh, that you have to leave us at this point. Thank you so much for joining us as always. Pleasure having you on the show. We have to slip into a very quick commercial break, but we'll take more of your questions on the other side, so do stay tuned.
गोल्ड प्लस ऑप्टिमिस्टिक रिफ्लेक्टिव ग्लास लगाओ, धूप की गर्मी को दूर भगाओ और बिजली का बिल भी बचाओ।
Imports become the exception rather than the norm, and increasingly we do almost last year, for example, of the contracts that we signed of record 2,09,000 crores, 81% was awarded to the domestic industry. Our intent is to manufacture in India, preferably with design also in India.
I am so elated to be on the same screen as the Defense Secretary, and I get a chance to talk about what he said.
In certain areas, like for example, artillery guns and armored.
All right, welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit, and this is a show that gets you answers to all of your stock-related questions. To that end, you see the two numbers on your screen. The one on top is where you can send us messages on WhatsApp, and the landline number at the bottom of the screen is where you can call us. Now, we've got an interesting question today. Finally, we get a question on JB Chemicals and Pharma. Really, this is one of the stocks of the day after that major acquisition that was announced over the weekend, and the stock price is down about 6.5%. This primarily has to do with the level at which the deal took place. But let's talk about Ramana Reddy's question. He's been holding 250 shares for a period of 10 years. Okay, and he's wondering whether to exit at this point. So, Saurabh, obviously over the course of that 10 years, he's made substantial gains. The question is, does he book out? I think that the perspective we've gotten so far is that this deal has taken place at a very attractive valuation for Torrent. what does it mean for existing investors of JB? And by the way, Ajit Mishra is joining us on this side of the break. As always, Ajit, thanks so much for joining in. But view, Saurabh, on JB.
I think my view is quite constructive for the long term. I think both companies, the company that is buying Torrent Pharmaceutical is a great company, and they have proven their track record in the past. And by buying this company, I think the synergies and the strength will increase going forward. I think for the long term, from the long term perspective, it makes sense to hold. Yes, the deal has happened at a lower price because the PE player is now exiting at the negotiated price, and even the offer is at the lower price than the last close of Friday. That is why I think the stock has reacted. I think he is a long-term investor. Since he is invested for 10 years, I think he can hold for long term. If he wants to come out of the stock, then he can do that. But from the long-term perspective, it's a clear hold.
Would you buy Torrent Pharma at the current price? The stock price is not doing anything. In fact, it's down about 0.1%. Is this an attractive price to enter for the very long term? Because as I understand it, some of these benefits from this acquisition will play out in the coming financial years, not necessarily immediately. What's the view, Saurabh?
You're absolutely right. I think there may be a bit pressure because this company has to take some debt also. So in that case, maybe the stock may see some pressure in the short term. I think buying in a staggered manner is the right approach.
Got that, Saurabh. The next question is actually on WhatsApp again. Sumit is writing to us for a query on Jio Finance. Now, he's bought 287 shares of the company at 294 rupees per share. So he's sitting at a profit. Saurabh, let me come to you. Since it's a long-term query, he can hold for 1 year. The stock's actually been one of the top Nifty gainers over the last 3 to 4 trading sessions. How do you look at Jio Financial and any view for the long term?
They are ready to go do the business. They have a deal with the Blackstone, and they want to. I think their application is ready for a big move. But I think it will take more than 3 to 5 years for the business to get reflect in the numbers in the balance sheet. Because largely this company earns from the treasury income from the holding of the Reliance Industry, and I think the stock is gaining in tandem with the Reliance Industry only. In my opinion, as of now, the valuations are rich. You may find the stock at a lower price also. So I think it is better to book profit off the table.
Okay, all right. We've got a question on Adani Power. Ajit, I'm coming to you on this one. We've got our viewer. Okay, I'm trying to pull up his name. Ella, okay. Ella is written in. Ella Moza is written in and asking, she's bought at levels of 590 and wondering whether to hold on at this point or exit, and which other stocks, 3 stocks, would you invest an additional 2.5 lakh rupees in at this point? Where do you see opportunities, Ajit?
Alex, so yes, she can continue to hold Adani Power because I believe that she has bought it recently, or maybe in the last swing where the stock moved up roughly from 540 to 600 plus levels. Again, we are at the our buying area, and the way we are seeing traction in some of these Adani group of stocks since last week, there's a possibility that the stock might surpass this hurdle this time, and probably around 640, 660 is something that the stock might test. So as of now, she should stay put with 560 as a stop loss and 640 as a additional target. Other than Adani, I believe that stock like L&T, ITC, ICICI Bank, ICICI Pru, Life, these are some of these stocks which she can consider for short-term investment, let's say for 3 to 6 months.
Okay. All right. The standard disclaimer, we just discussed Adani Power, which is, is part of the Adani Group, and NDTV Group is part of the Adani Group as well, of which NDTV Profit is a part. Snigdha is calling us from Hyderabad. Very good morning, Snigdha. How can we help you today?
Hi, good morning. This is Snigdha from Hyderabad.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my query is regarding Network Technologies.
Okay.
I'm holding 120 shares at 1845 rupees.
All right.
So the stock is consolidating since so long, since 1 month, at the same levels. So can I expect the target of 2,000 for the next 1 month, or should I exit?
Okay, so it's
should I exit from this counter?
Okay, so...
And the all-time high I see is 2,900.
Got it. Okay, so you are looking...
So I just also want to know some sectors which are currently trading at attractive levels.
Okay, and what is the time frame that you have for those sectors, Snigdha? Is this a long-term view that you're seeking?
No, it's just for 3 months.
Okay, all right. So, I think so. If you were listening, Ajit just gave a few examples of stocks that he would buy at the current juncture. I think if I'm remembering correctly, he pulled up Larsen & Toubro. Maybe run through that. Okay, ICICI Bank, Larsen & Toubro, if I remember correctly. But Ajit, specifically on NetWeb Tech, if you bought at levels of 1845, is 2000 possible on the charts in a month's time? And where would you put the stop loss, and where else would you put money in at this point?
Right. So, Alex, the last 4-5 months of trading in NetWeb has been almost like a roller coaster ride. Means from 3,000 to roughly around 1,275, and then again to around 2,100 mark. But it couldn't sustain above the long-term averages. So that's the concern, basically. Again, we are seeing a buying pivot formation around the short-term averages. So though it's a good sign, but at least, in a market like this where we are approaching towards the record highs, aligned with the sectors and themes which are trading in tandem with the benchmark is more rewarding. So in my opinion, in case if the view is short-term and the stock is quoting at her buying price, she may exit and switch to the counters, be it ICICI, L&T, ICICI Pru, Life. These are some of the names which she can consider for next 3 to 6 months.
A lot of large cap names from Ajit coming in on the technical side at least. But the next query is on WhatsApp from Kishore Kambampati, who's writing from Hyderabad. A very interesting one. Tata Technologies, he wants a long-term view from 18 to the next 36 months. Bought at a level which is very closer to the current market price as well. Saurabh, let me come to you, because while the stock has really underperformed from those highs of about 12 to 1,300 rupees seen, it's still not cheap by any means in terms of price to earnings as well. Do you suggest momentum turning for this company, or do you expect that the concerns of ER&D space will hamper the growth?
I think the concerns are very much there, and I don't feel any kind of a turnaround. I think it is better to exit for the long term.
Better to exit. And Ajit, let me come to you also, because it's been a stock where we're getting a lot of queries recently because of the fall from the highs. Do you suggest any kind of positive momentum being formed over the next 3 to 6 months?
So, in fact, there was an attempt of late, means the stock recovered from 600 to 800, and there we were seeing a bit of a consolidation or serious attempt of trend reversal, but it couldn't sustain it. It again, slipped lower, and we are still seeing selling pressure emerging on every uptick. So the short-term bias looks sideways to negative. So until we, let's say, reclaim 750 area decisively, one should refrain from any fresh long position if the view is short-term.
So that's a view on Tata Tech. If I'm not mistaken, we did have them on Know Your Company. No, we had them on, we had them on Know Your Company, and we also had them on India Market Open not too long back. And I would invite you to have a look at the conversation that we had about the outlook on the earnings going forward. They have admitted that last year, if I remember correctly, Puneet, you were listening into that conversation, so maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. They have admitted that revenue growth was a little tepid, but going forward, those metrics will improve in the second half, if I remember correctly.
Yes, but they are anticipating some toughness because of, ER&D largely operates in a lot in Europe as well because of the automakers, and there the outlook for Tata Tech as well as KPIT Tech is not very positive. So definitely some uncertainty. But
there was something also about the aviation space where the business is going to double, right?
Yeah. But the positive aspect is that the other non-auto business is starting to increase, aerospace, education, amongst others, and they're trying to increase that share. And while that will happen in this year because of a low base, I think a lot of the growth will be dependent on the auto vertical, and that seems to be in some kind of a limbo, to say the least, because of market conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it, and that entire pack is going to be in focus tomorrow.
Yes.
And by the way, you should watch out for this in closing. I believe that we'll have more details on what you should expect from the key numbers that come through starting tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, is the 1st of July, and you'll see the monthly wholesale data for all of these automakers for the month of June. So you'll get some perspective on that. Murli is calling us from Bengaluru, as he usually does. Murli, very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Very good morning, Mr. Alex, and others in the panel and co-panelists. and Anchor.
Yes.
My query is on Refex Industries, REFEX.
Yes.
I bought 500 shares at the rate of 659, 60. Sorry, I bought at the rate of...
sir. 459.
459,
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 459.60.
Yeah.
I bought it based on some interview I've seen about SRF, which is also having the refrigerant gas. And of course, it's a much bigger company, no comparison. But point is, the business is doing well, they say, especially refrigeration gas. SRF is quoting twice PE of Refex. Market cap is about 3 times, turnover is about 5-6 times. And this is also, ROI is better for this company, Refex. It's a low debt equity ratio.
Yeah.
Those are strictly not comparable, but competition-wise, they are in the similar field.
Yeah.
At least one of the businesses of SRF.
Yeah.
So all these things in mind. And SRF has stated that Refex is doing very well, that refrigeration gas is doing very well.
Yes.
Which is, so under the circumstances, can I hold the share or add more if it comes on by another 10%? In Refex, I'm talking about Refex. And they called up a meeting with Gensal.
Yes.
We entered into EV after the Gensal fiasco, luckily.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I must confess once again, Murli, that I love the way that you do your research. Of course, as you pointed out, not necessarily comparable because SRF for one has a market capitalization of 95,000. Refex is only about 6,000 crore rupees or thereabouts. And well, the valuation picture is very, very dramatically different. And I take the point that you're making though, in the refrigerant space, there are a few companies that have been making big strides in the recent past. At least the stock prices have moved up. But let me go across to Saurabh on this one. Saurabh, coverage on Refex, trailing PE at 31.5, not expensive from that perspective. Have you looked at the company? Would you buy at this point? Would you hold if you bought at very close to the current market price?
A small company, haven't really tracked this company, but if it is, even if it is comparable with SRF, I mean, in the business wise, the valuations are still higher than the SRF itself. I think it is quoting at around 10 times to book value. In my opinion, I think betting on small size companies is a bit risky. So in my sense, I think one should avoid.
Refex, from what I can see, is trading at less than 5 times price to book, but maybe we can take that at a later date when we look at the numbers in more detail. But let me at least get a technical view on Refex if we possibly can, Ajit. Do you have something that you can tell us?
So, Alex, it's been a phenomenal run since 2014, means from roughly around single digit to this 600 plus mark. And the last 6-9 months is the period where the stock is witnessing more of a time-wise correction. Price-wise also it has retraced considerably from its record highs, but it continued to hold its major averages, which is a good sign. So this indicates that the long-term trend is still intact. And since he's a long-term investor, I believe that this zone close to around 400 to 380 is something that buyers are very keen accumulating the stock. At the same time, 540, 560 is something which is acting as a hurdle. So in a near future, this range might continue, but broadly the trend is up and he can continue to hold his position until we decisively break this 380 mark.
Got that, Ajit, and both a fundamental as well as technical view on Refex. Now, the next query is actually a very interesting one, a recent listing, Siemens Energy. Now, Santosh from Chennai is asking his view on the stock. On a fundamental side, we've also got another query from Mr. Mo Malik, who's also giving us the similar query as well. And thanks to both these gentlemen for sending this as well. Saurabh, let me come to you because we've seen Siemens Energy amongst others in that space being actually valued more than the parent companies of Siemens right now because of the higher growth. Do you anticipate over the next 3 to 5 years the current high valuations is sustainable? It could be to be sidelines and buy something else.
Well, it is expected that the company would be giving higher growth, but I think all hinges upon the outcome. We have to wait for the June quarter earnings and the management guidance, and till then it is out.
Okay, so that's a view on Siemens Energy. We've got our next caller, I believe. Pradeep is calling us from Bengaluru. Very good morning, Pradeep. How can we help you today?
Very good morning to all of you. See, I was thinking I am a long-term investor with a vision of another 2 years.
Right.
So I wanted to enter the diagnostic space, and in this space, I am a bit confused about whether to enter Lalpath Labs or whether to enter Metropolis Healthcare.
Okay.
So I wanted a guidance on this.
Okay, but Pradeep, can you tell me why you're thinking about the diagnostic space? What specifically has drawn you to it?
Because one thing is, I don't have any coverage on this diagnostic space. That is one reason. And secondly, I feel with the increasing expenditure being made by the general public in healthcare now, and people have become much more health conscious now. So I thought that it might be a better sector to invest now.
Okay. And you don't need to answer in too much detail, but do you have any hospital companies?
Yeah, I have hospital companies. I have Narayan Ridalaya as well as this Narayan Ridalaya and Apollo Hospital.
Apollo Hospitals, okay.
But in very small quantity.
In very small quantity. Okay, so that helps me ask the question to Saurabh. Saurabh, so he's already holding hospital companies. Is it a better idea to double down on that if he wants to play the whole, medical space? And I'm not talking about pharma, but I'm talking about healthcare services. Would you buy more of the hospitals or would you buy the diagnostic companies? And if so, which?
I think owning hospital is makes a good sense than the labs itself. Earlier there was some kind of a competition among the labs because of the heightened competition, but now these companies are even making money. So in that sense, yes, the companies are good, but I think the hospital will play out greatly than the pure laboratory companies. Both the companies that he holds are very good. I mean, Apollo and the Narayana Hrudayalaya. And if he wants to go for the Metropolis, I think the last quarterly earnings were some kind of a disappointment, but the management is quite confident for the future prospects, so he can go with the Metropolis.
Okay. All right. By the way, we've got an interesting stock that we're discussing on Know Your Company. And in case you weren't aware, the show that comes up next at 11:30 is Know Your Company. And it delves into the fundamental details of one particular company on a given day. And today the company is going to be PTC India, not to be confused with PTC Industries. PTC India is in the trading of power. And so from that perspective, some of the questions that you might ask with regard to IEX would also be relevant to this company. The whole risk of market coupling that has had a bearing on IEX. What are the implications for PTC India? And a few more questions. Is there a plan to scale up the business? What is the utilization of excess cash that will take place? And what is the anticipation or expectation on growth and margins as well going forward? On the show today, we're going to have Manoj Kumar Jhawar, who is the chairman and managing director of the company, who will speak to Harsh and Varsha. That comes up next at 11:30. I would encourage you to check it out. We've got a next question on Zen Technologies from the Defence Pack. And Murli from Palakkad in Kerala has bought 200 shares at a price of 1,600 rupees per share. He says that he is a long-term investor, and he says that he's bought it for a few reasons. One, the defence sector is booming. That's evident for everybody to see. It's got good top and bottom line growth over the last 4 quarters, and the guidance is good as well from the management, good R&D as well. Should he hold on? Should he invest more? He's making a profit of about 75,000 rupees right now. Saurabh, on the fundamentals?
Yes, I mean, the sector prospects are quite good, but at the same time, the valuations are also. If you see in the past, when the correction happened in the market, the stock got halved in price. And now there has been a good movement because of the wars kind of activity happening in the global arena. In my opinion, I think it is a good time to book profits rather than adding more.
Got that, Saurabh, but we're getting a next caller from Amchi, Mumbai itself. Pulin is calling in. Pulin, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correct. A very good morning to you. What's your query?
Yeah. Good morning. I had a query regarding Asian Paints. I'm holding 500 shares of Asian Paints since more than a year. I bought it at 2655. Should I hold or book the loss?
And are you looking for a fundamental view? Can you hold for a year if there is any kind of turnaround in the stock price, pull-in?
Yes.
Okay. Saurabh, the paint space seeing a lot of competition. We've also seen a recent acquisition by JSW of Axo. Birla Opus doing very well. Do you see any kind of turnaround for Asian Paints, or it could be a long road ahead for the company?
I think there will be a long road ahead. There is a both problem with respect to the sales and the pressure on the margins also. That is the reason I think the paint companies are not doing good. Yes, it will remain number one company for the foreseeable future, but for the equity investors, I think they want to see growth, which is not happening. So in my sense, I think he should get out.
Out is a view on Asian Paints. Quite a bit happening in that paint space. All right. Vishnu from Hyderabad is asking about Senco Gold. He's got 400 shares at a price of 411. Ajit, on the charts, he's got a view for the next 6 months. What is the potential upside?
So, Alex, after the sharp correction, we are seeing a bit of consolidation for almost 2 months in this range of 300 to 400, and the stock is still trading below its major averages. So the upside seems capped, means the short-term view looks like limited upside with 375 and 400 being the immediate resistances. But at the same time, we are seeing the stock finding buying interest emerging on every dip around 300, 320 zone. So in case if it sees any bounce towards 375, 400 zone, you should try to utilize that opportunity to exit the long positions. For fresh buying, one should wait for a decisive close above 420.
Okay, all right, so that's a view on Senco Gold. Well, it's time now to hit the rapid fire round, and gentlemen, you know what this means. We'll throw as many questions at you over the course of the next 2 minutes. Do keep your answers as concise as possible. Now, the first question is on rate gain. Vineet from Coimbatore is asking, he's bought at a price of 470 rupees. He hasn't mentioned his time frame. On the charts, is it a hold or an exit?
Hold, 430 stop loss, 500 target.
Got that. The next query is on Axelia Solutions. Our shareholder has been holding it since a while now. Saurabh, any view on positive momentum coming close to 1900, which is the buy price?
Not in the foreseeable future.
Okay. Maharashtra Scooters, not a stock that we talk about very often, but usually looked at as holding co for Bajaj Auto. Long-term view is being sought. He's bought at levels of 2,500. What would you do, Saurabh? Would you hold?
Hold.
Well, next query is on Dr. Reddy's, and our viewer is asking if he can enter the stock right now for a long-term view. Saurabh, do you suggest the same?
Buying in a staggered manner.
Okay, AB Capital, 24% upside over the last 2 months after the purchase. Would you hold or book profit? What's the view, Ajit?
Hold, maintain trailing stop at 260 and around 290.95, book complete.
Well, the next query is on CIE Automotive. Our viewer has bought at 412. Ajit, a short-term view, do you expect some positive momentum?
So CIE you should definitely hold 440 stop, 480 target.
Okay. NTPC Green bought at a price of 113 rupees, around 5,000 shares. Would you hold or exit? Prakash wants to know, Saurabh.
Hold.
Next one is actually on Interglobe Aviation. Ajit, do you see a short-term benefit on the stock? That's the query.
Certainly, you should hold 6,200, 50 target, 5,800 stop loss.
Would you enter fresh though?
Fresh, I would recommend to wait. Any dip in the range of 5,800 to 5,850.
Okay, all right. Ajit, on that note, and Saurabh, thanks so much for joining us today and for answering all the questions that you did. Always a pleasure having you on the program. All right, and that brings us to the end of this edition of Ask Profit from Puneet and myself and the team that put the show together. Thanks so much for watching. Up next, as I told you, is Know Your Company, and we're discussing PTC India. Do stay tuned. This is NDTV Profit.
Imports become the exception rather than the norm, and increasingly we do almost last year, for example, of the contracts that we signed of record 2,09,000 crores, 81% was awarded to the domestic industry. Our intent is to manufacture in India, preferably with design also in India.
I am so elated to be on the same screen as the Defense Secretary, and I get a chance to talk about what he said.
In certain areas, like for example, artillery guns and armored vehicles, or in some categories of missiles like the BrahMos and the Akash, we've come of age.
What Defense Secretary Sir said is 100% true, and today private industry can really increase their involvement in R&D.
I am very proud to say that we make, in our categories that we have been supplying to our defense forces, some of the best platforms in the world.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold
CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.